Hey viewers, my name's Cara. We are at my desk, but at a slightly different angle. I thought maybe this could work better for now without having to move everything around. I'm trying some things out. I'm rearranging my desk area. I am burning incense again, so don't worry about that. Having some tea, chai, and I just wanted to do a quick video, which is also why I thought I'll just leave the tripod where it is on my desk. I won't rearrange everything, but I did move it to the other side of the desk just for something fresh, something new. I want to see how it goes. But I am currently going through and doing my daily card of the day pulls. I am recording this on a Sunday, so I don't have anything in particular planned for the day, so therefore I'm doing this a little bit later in the day and I can take my time with it, as opposed to if I'm doing it quickly before I head to the museum on a day that I'm working or anything else like that. I also just downloaded another app to help me try to track some of my daily and weekly habits. I do use a paper planner, which is here on my desk, but I wanted to have some stuff on my phone. I do a lot of setting things on my phone, setting alarms, but I'm trying out different habit tracking apps to see which ones I like to. So I'm not going to tell you which one I'm using right now because I'm not necessarily saying like, I like this one. I'm trying different things out. If you have any favorites, please let me know in the comments. I'd love suggestions. Basically, I'm looking for just ways to help me remember throughout the day and like be able to check things off when I'm not sitting at my desk looking at my paper planner. Because I have my phone on me throughout the day. Something comes up throughout the day, I can quickly enter it into my phone to remind myself to do it. I use notepads, and I put the widget on my home screen so I can like see those types of things. But I don't know, I like things that allow you to like check it off, and that's what I use my planner for. But I don't take my paper planner with me everywhere that I go. It's bigger than the bag that I carry. And so like I did that in school. Obviously my planner came with me everywhere, to every class, every meeting, but I don't do that anymore. My planner stays here for now. So yeah. But anyway, one of the things that I'm getting back into doing is daily card pulls. And it's, so far I've started it over the last month or so. I've been doing it again. And there might be like a couple days that I miss, because if I'm not feeling well and I don't get up and come over here to my desk to do any work throughout the day at my desk, I'm not doing my card pulls because they're at my desk. I did hear from someone, I talked to so many people throughout the week, online and in person at the museum, so I don't actually remember who I heard this from, if it was somebody in a video or in a conversation or whatever. But I did hear the suggestion from somebody somewhat recently that they keep a small deck of cards, like a pocket-sized deck of cards, in their car, so that on the days they are driving to work, when they get in the car, they see the deck and they remember to pull a card on their way to work or before they go into work or whatever. That's the kind of thing I need. Like, I need the things that are like right there in front of my face, but right now they are at my desk, and I'm an overachiever or a glutton for punishment, I don't know, but I can't just pull one card from one deck. No, I had two decks that I was pulling from, two decks that are newer to me that I wanted to continue to get to know, and then I've added a third deck, one of the other newer ones that I got. Absolutely ridiculous. I know that about myself. So it takes me a lot longer, for example, because I'm going through like 3 decks, 3 cards, sometimes more than 3 cards, because if one jumps out of the deck, I don't always read jumpers or flyers, but with these I have a very specific system that like if it does so in a very specific way and if it lands a very specific way, I will count it as like a bonus card. I'll set it to the side, but then I will also keep shuffling and pull like I normally would too. So sometimes I get 4 cards, but typically I'm just looking at 3 decks, 3 cards. So one of them is the Spacious Tarot. This one, this was my first indie deck, right? Yeah, I think. As far as I know, it's the first one that I like specifically purchased that was indie. There might be other ones I have that are like mass market now, but started out as indie publications. And there might be some that I've gotten secondhand that I don't know about. No, I think all the ones I've gotten secondhand have been mass market decks. I'm not sure. Anyway, that is one. Another one that I'm working with that I'm still getting to know that I really love is the Herb Crafters Tarot. So I've got that one over here. And then the third one I've recently added to this daily practice is the 2020 Visions Tarot, which is a Major Arcana only deck by Crystal Banner. Crystal has a lot of really interesting like tarot and oracle decks and affirmations cards and things like that. And not all of them are my personal style, like they're not all things that I would personally want to use for my practice, but they're so creative and wonderful that like it is no surprise at all to me why they are so popular, because I think a lot of people really enjoy the other types of stuff that Crystal does. But this was something that I follow on Instagram and was really appealing to me. So it's Major Arcana only, and it's all things inspired by the various events of the year 2020. So part of what I want to talk about is just like telling you that I'm doing this. I'm trying to do daily card pulls again, but I'm doing 3 cards instead of just 1. Why? But I can't pick just one. I want to work with multiple things. And the other thing that I want to talk about is what those of you who work with cards think of when you get a card repeatedly. When you pull a card multiple days in a row, or you get it all the time. There are a couple cards that I've been getting basically like once a week since I started doing this practice. I've been pulling the Ace of Pentacles from the Spacious Tarot, which I'll try to find it real quick, but it depicts a maple leaf, like the little like seed pod with the sort of feather thing on it. Where I live, we call them helicopters because they fall and they spin, but those are maple seed pods. And the Ace of Pentacles of this deck is showing one. Oh, there it is. It's taken me longer to go through to find it. This card. I have pulled this card once a week since I started doing the daily pulls again. And the first time I pulled it on a morning that I had to work at the museum. I went into the museum, and one of the things I do all the time there is like dust and sweep the floor. So I had done all of that for the day, and then I went into the back room, and right in the middle of the floor in the back room was a maple seed pod just sitting in the middle of the floor on a day that I had pulled this card. And it must have come in with one of our guests or whatever, but it was just very interesting that it was the only bit of little nature detritus in the middle of the room, and I happened to pull that card that day. So I always notice things like that, obviously, when something very clearly depicted in the card that I pull comes up throughout the day. Most of the time that's not what happens. It's not quite that literal, but I just want to kind of get your thoughts. So let me know in the comments, what are your thoughts about when you pull the same card over and over, whether it's every week or every day or every time you do a reading about a certain aspect of your life, this card comes up. There are certain cards that sort of follow us around, for lack of a better term. I think that's a phrase that a lot of us use, that I've heard a lot. And there are certain cards that have been that for me over the years. There are different periods of my life where, like, for an entire year, a certain card kept coming up, but then after that, it doesn't seem to come up any more often than anything else, and now it's like something else is the most prevalent. So from the 2020 Visions deck, this one, every day for like the past several days, I have been getting the World card, which shows the hole in the ozone layer that was healing itself. I just thought this was really interesting that like this is the one that keeps coming up. Obviously this is a Major Arcana only deck, so there's actually 23 cards in this deck. Usually the Major Arcana is made up of 22 cards, the 1 through 21 plus the numbered 0 card, the Fool. But this deck actually has an additional 23rd card, which is numbered Infinity. So yeah, because this is a Major Arcana only deck, there are only 23 cards, so it's definitely more likely that I'm gonna get the same cards like more frequently than I would with the full 78 card decks. But at the same time, like, when I do readings, I get different cards, right? If I ask specific questions, I'm more likely to get different cards. But when I'm just asking for a card of the day, or like a, what do I need to know about today? What do I need to focus on today? Something like that. I tend to get the same cards over and over for a certain period of time. And from this deck, it's been the World or Death. I did get the Moon card once within the past couple of weeks, but I've only been working with this deck in my daily pulls for the last maybe 2 weeks, so I haven't been using this one for the dailies as long as I have the other two. I've been working with the other two for about a month, but there are, even within that month or so, there are certain cards from both decks that I've gotten multiple times, and then there are a bunch of others that have been different every time. From the Herb Crafters, I've been tending to get the court cards more often than any others. Either the majors, I think I might have only gotten a major card from Herb Crafters once in the past month as a daily pull. I've gotten some of the just numbered cards pretty often, but majoritively court cards. From Spacious, it's been quite a mix, but there are certain ones that come up a lot. The Ace of Pentacles, the Guardian of Pentacles, I've had multiple times, like enough to notice that. And then the others are kind of, so far, they're kind of just whatever. There was also one time that I got, it was last week, I pulled a card from Spacious and a card from Herb Crafters, and I got the same 2 cards that I had gotten on that same day of the week 1 week prior to that. So 2 weeks in a row on the same day of the week from 2 different decks, I pulled the same 2 cards. I thought that was interesting and significant. So yeah, just kind of wondering your overall thoughts about that kind of thing. How do you interpret that stuff in your practice? Is it just like, oh, kind of a cool thing, something to pay attention to, something to note, or does it have like any kind of very specific, deep, intense meaning for you? Or is it just kind of like, whatever, you know, where are you in that sort of spectrum, I guess? What are your thoughts about that? For me, it's the first thing I said. I think of it as very interesting and cool and something to pay attention to, but I don't necessarily assign a ton of meaning to it right away until maybe over time I establish more of a pattern with it, or I start to notice what kind of things are coming up for me on those days or something like that. But on a regular basis, it's just something that I like to notice. So that's typically what it is for me. So yeah, going through, doing my daily card pulls, and I want to start doing more videos more regularly that are just a little more casual, that are not as anxiety inducing for me for whatever reason. I'm dealing with my own stuff. So yeah, I think that'll be it for this video. I will see you next time. And until then, don't forget to be awesome, blessed be, and goodbye.